All right, we are live.
All right, thank you, Sherry. All right, good evening, everyone. It is 7:01 on Tuesday, November 28th, and I now call to order the 2128th regular meeting of the City of College Place City Council. Sherry, will you please take roll call?
Mayor Hernandez,
Present.
Councilmember Cleveland,
Present.
Councilmember Espinoza,
Present.
Councilmember Peterson,
Present.
Councilmember Sherman,
Present.
Councilmember Boyle,
Present.
and Councilmember Williams. You in attendance?
I am actually in attendance. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to, but I am here. So I guess it's not time yet to say, take excusing me off the consent agenda, but I would recommend that.
And
We'll take that under
Councilmember Jessup has asked to be excused. We do have a quorum.
All right, excellent. Thanks, everyone. Now, will you all please join me in Pledge of Allegiance? Can't really raise my right hand, but I'm doing my best. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. It's time for public comment. Sherry, did anyone submit a comment in advance?
I did not receive any comments. And there is one person in the attendees list.
Okay, is there anybody in the lobby or in the council chambers?
We have one attendee.
Okay, great, thank you. So if anyone who is in attendance in the council chambers or virtual attendance that would like to speak, please raise your hand now. If you're connected by phone, *9 will raise your hand for you.
Nope.
Okay, all right, thank you. Then we're going to move on to the consent agenda, which consists of the agenda for tonight, November 28th, 2023, the council meeting minutes for November 14th, 2023, and excusing the absence of Councilmember Jessup. Are there any items any member of the council would like removed from the consent agenda at this time?
I'll make a motion to approve the. She's here. She wanted to make sure that she wasn't excused because she's here.
I missed that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, except for not Melody.
All right, do we have a second?
Councilmember Williams, second.
Great, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it, the motion is passed. So there's no presentations on today's agenda, so we're going to move on to our public hearings. There are two public hearings on the agenda tonight, and Mr. Rickard's going to present on the Hodgins-Conan annexation.
Thank you, Mayor Hernandez. The Hodgins-Conan annexation, it is off of the South College Avenue area. It's approximately 28.9 acres in size, total area. There were two properties that did not desire to be annexed into that area, and they are the Zimmer property at 0.84 acres and then the Sam's property at 4.01 acres, totaling 4.85 acres. The annexation method is the 60% petition annexation method, which requires that at least 60% of the property value in the area being proposed for annexation, the petition must contain at least 60% of the property value in the area being proposed for annexation. The area proposed for annexation, it is valued at $1.97 million, and 60% of that number is $1.182 million. So the area does have 60% of the assessed valuation needed in order to the council to require other parties to be included in the annexation area. And that was the desire of the council. The last time we met, the annexation area was modified to include the Sam's property and the Zimmer property for a total of 28.9 acres, more or less. We have advertised for this as required for the public hearing. The portions of, there are portions of, can you pull up the map area for me, clerk? So in that map area, you'll see parcels that are labeled A through D. Those would be brought in as commercial. And then the other two parcels, or three parcels, one of them is kind of a road easement. And then the other two are larger tracts. Those would be brought in as single family residential. We have not received, to my knowledge, any public comments on the annexation area. I don't have any further information to provide to you, other than we are required to hold a public hearing for this.
All right, thank you. Let's go through council members for any questions or comments. Councilmember Cleveland?
No questions?
I'm sorry, was Councilmember Espinosa present? Yes.
I'm here.
Okay, Councilmember Espinosa, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams?
I'm sorry, I was trying to look, which are the two properties that were added? Are they,
So it would be A and B on the map.
thank you. I just wasn't here and I couldn't quickly find it in the previous.
Councilmember Sherman?
No questions.
And Councilmember Boyle?
No question, thanks.
All right, so there's no further questions or comments from council members. I will open the public hearing at this time. Sherry, did anyone submit a comment in advance?
I did not receive any comments.
Okay, thank you. So if there's anyone in attendance in council chambers or in virtual attendance that would like to speak, please raise your hand now. If you're connected by phone, *9 will raise your hand.
No.
Okay, thank you. So is there any additional discussion? If not, is there a motion to close the hearing?
I motion we close the public hearing.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussions? Right, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is closed. The hearing is closed, I'm sorry. Next, Mr. Rizzatello is going to present on the fiscal year 2024-2029 capital facilities plan.
Thank you, Mayor. We've gone over this several meetings over the last 2 months, so don't worry, I won't go over it page by page again. What I will say is that this went before the Park Board, Utilities and Transportation Commission, and then the Economic Development Commission, and they all provided their recommendations for the passage of this document. So this details a 6-year investment plan across the respective departments. Really, any investment over $5,000 is included in this in the summary sheet. Just as a refresher, things are rated as high, medium, and low, and that allows us mobility as economic conditions change. So high means the investment needs to happen no matter what. Medium is really dependent upon the situation at hand, and low is really grants driven. And then the column of how is the project funded, that really delves into the split of the various revenue sources that go to make it happen. So with all of that, the main projects afoot for the coming year really deal with the wastewater treatment plant. So the phase 1A of that, which is the change out of the mechanical equipment, naturally Lions Park, which we're finally getting to construct that project, and then the drinking water well projects. And then position Majania Road with obtaining right of way and getting that ready to go. And then the subsequent years, that really just depends upon, again, the grants and moving things forward. I will mention that of roughly 60% of the projects within this document are funded either by development or outside grant and financing dollars. But with that, I think that provides a Cliff's Notes of everything. If folks are interested in the details of projects, please go to the booklet document, which is 80 pages of reading. Yeah. Yep.
All right, thank you, Mike. Let's go through council members for any questions or comments. And beginning with Council Member Cleveland.
No questions. Looks great.
Council Member Espinosa.
Yeah, I'd just like to highlight the fact that over 60%, like Mike said, of the projects here are grants. So our city is really looking to make investments that don't get the citizens in debt, but more likely look for funds and grants and opportunities to improve our community, not at the cost of the citizens. So I'd just like to make a comment of that, and thank you, Mike, for looking for those grants. Appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Councilmember Peterson.
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
No questions.
Councilmember Boyle.
No questions, thanks.
All right, so if there's no other questions or comments, I'm gonna open the public hearing at this time. Sherry, did anyone submit a comment in advance on this topic?
I did not receive any comments.
Okay, so if there's anyone in attendance in council chambers or in virtual attendance that would like to speak regarding this topic, please raise your hand now. If you're connected by phone, *9 will raise your hand for you.
Did public comment not on the agenda already take place?
It did.
Okay, so this is not the time to ask why we tolerate Jews sucking on babies' penises. Metz of the Bepay. GTVflyers.com.
Sherry, can you cut? Thank you. All right, so if there's no comments, is there any additional discussion by council members?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. The public hearing is closed, excuse me. Okay, then we're going to move on to some action items because that's all for our public hearing. There are 11 action items on the agenda tonight, so we're going to get through them. First, Ms. St. Clair will present on the LTAC funding recommendations.
Thank you, Mayor. So on, well, I'll say, but each year the Lodging Tax Advisory Commission reviews applications for recommended funding for lodging tax funds received by the city. There was a request for proposals published in the Walla Walla Union Bulletin on August 24th and September 7th. In addition, the request for proposals was sent to the contacts on the request for proposals distribution list and posted on Facebook on August 23rd. The deadline for the applications was October 24th. The city received 4 applications. One from Fort Walla Walla Museum in the amount of $5,000 for personnel and programming. One from Powerhouse Theater of Walla Walla in the amount of $10,000 for marketing and promotion and contractors for web, photography, social media, and video. One from the Walla Walla Valley Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $7,500 for the Film Walla Walla Valley event to help cover costs of personnel, administration, and fam tours. And one from the City of College Place in the amount of $14,000 for the Freedom Festival event for marketing and promotion, promotional items, and live entertainment. The total of all these requests is $36,500. The Lodging Tax Advisory Commission had a meeting on November 2nd, where they reviewed and recommended the approval of all 4 funding applications as presented. Our estimated fund balance for 2024, we estimate there's $69,138.40. If we subtract the 2024 requested funds total, that would be $36,500, would leave an estimated fund balance of $32,638. Any questions?
All right, thank you. I am going to note when it comes to voting, council members Boyle and Sherman will be abstaining from voting since they are both involved with organizations on this list. But for now, do we have any questions or comments, starting with Councilmember Cleveland?
No questions?
Councilmember Espinosa?
What is the forecasted revenue for 2024 for this fund?
We estimate that there is going to be $69,138 available in funds for 2024. This year to date, we've taken in $32,717, and that's through the end of September. We estimate that there's going to be an additional $10,905 in revenues, giving us a total of $104,442. And there is $4,500 in expenditures that we're still anticipating for this year.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Sherman, do you have any questions or comments?
I was just told that I was abstaining.
Right, from voting. I didn't know if you could speak. I actually wasn't sure about if you could ask a question or not. All right, then we're going to also skip then Councilmember Boyle. All right, so if there's no other questions or comments, do we have a motion?
Yes,
Councilmember Peterson, I move to approve LTAC funding recommendations for 2024 to the City of College Place in the amount of $14,000 to the Powerhouse Theater of Walla Walla in the amount of $10,000 to the Fort of Walla Walla Museum in the amount of $5,000 and to the Walla Walla Valley Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $7,500.
I'll second. Councilmember Cleveland.
Excellent. We have a first and a second. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Congratulations to all of those applicants. Next, Mr. Rickard's going to present on the Hodgkins Conan's annexation.
Thank you, Mayor. Don't really have anything additional to add, other than staff recommends approving the annexation as proposed.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland, questions or comments?
No questions.
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman,
No questions.
and Councilmember Boyle. All right, I think I saw her mouth say no questions. All right, so if there's no additional discussion, let's vote. Actually, is there a motion?
Yeah, Councilmember Peterson, motion to approve ordinance number 23-013 to annex certain property known as Hodgkins Conan, including contiguous properties into the municipal boundaries of the City of College Place.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you, Mr. Rickard. Next is the fiscal year 2024-2029 capital facilities plan, and Mr. Rizzatello, you're back up on that.
Yeah, so document details investments over a 6-year period, and then it has the various funding breakdowns for the projects, as in past years.
All right, let's go for questions or comments. Councilmember Cleveland,
No questions.
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman,
No questions.
Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right, great. Thank you all. Since there's no questions or comments, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 23-014, which enacts the fiscal year 2024 to 2029 capital facility plan as outlined in the attached summary and booklet documents.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Councilmember Williams, second.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Hearing none.
Councilmember
Yes.
Peterson, Mike, not sure if this falls under this. The beginning construction on the Lions Park. What are your thoughts on that at this point?
Well, I mean, bids are due in December, and really how that's going to happen is that Anderson Perry is going to be essentially reviewing them for completeness. And then wouldn't you think that we would be able to get that out by like January? Jack?
Yeah, most likely the first meeting in January, we'll have a recommendation for award.
So construction could start. Hard to say.
There are certain things that could start this winter. There's a process to, obviously get the contract, executed and all that in place, but that's why we're, going through the process now. This is so that we can get it underway and allow the contractor to to move as works best for them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long construction window no matter what because of the in-stream work, which can't happen until late summer, early fall. So the park won't be done until late next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, hearing none, is there a motion? Wait, we already made a motion, right? Yes, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. You want to start that all over again? Sorry about that. All right, next, Mr. Rizzatello is going to present on the fiscal year 2024-2029 equipment replacement plan.
Thank you. Same general concept except with equipment. The key investments is the generator for City Hall. Also replacement ambulance and fire department. We have money in there for the leasing program that's still under review. And then marked vehicle for the proposed one additional officer. The one additional officer. And then we took out the one for the second. And then subsequent additional staff in subsequent years afterward, we have placeholders for parks. There's no equipment investment. Same with stormwater. Streets department, it tends to be utility truck pickup. Vehicle for facility coordinator, tilt trailer, and then de-icer equipment because we're trying to double down and get going on better snow removal in the winter. Wastewater, it's the addendum because as you may recall, we do have outright control the equipment in wastewater. We contract that out to Jacobs that also runs the treatment plant via contract. And then the water department, it's replacement of utility truck and then vehicles for the 2 new positions in there. And then the subsequent 5 years after that are estimates based upon needs conveyed by the equipment division.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland, questions or comments?
No questions, no comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Espinosa.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right. Is there any other discussion? If not, do we have a motion?
Councilmember Williams, I move to adopt ordinance number 23-015, which enacts the fiscal year 2024 to 2029 equipment replacement plan.
I'll second.
Excellent, thank you. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Right, hearing none, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Next, fiscal year 2024-2029 information technology plan.
Thank you. So the information technology plan, similar drill as with the equipment replacement is and the capital, except it's with the computers and any hardware and software. Really, we've been at this for enough years where it's becoming fairly standard. We're in our 7-year replacement with the computers. Server needs to be changed out. Time goes by quick. That's hard to believe that already. And then also why you'll notice that the cost is high this year is because we're finishing the implementation on the Tyler ERP system, which includes the finance, community development, asset management software. And then while that's all going on, you have the legacy costs for the existing software because we have to pay the maintenance fees on that to make sure everything transitions in a new system. I'll say with ERP systems in general, the aim is they usually last, depending on the software vendor, between like about 15 and 20 years. So hopefully we aren't going to be encountering this for a long time, knock on wood. And you'll see that in the booklet form that the expenditures are on a downward trend after this upcoming year. And everything else is really maintenance agreements and the like. And then we have placeholders in for money for the security cameras every other year. And we write Wild Horse Casino Foundation grants for that. What I will say, and it's becoming a bigger issue as the years transpire, so we'll just have to watch it, is the installation on those cameras, just because the cost on electrical continues to have a significant increase. And we've been able to cover for that with asking for additional money, because luckily Wild Horse Casino lifted the cap and bumped it up some more. But that's not to say they'll keep on doing that as costs escalate. So we're going to have to watch that.
Mike, how much increase did we see?
So you mean the increase on the overarching budget this year for IT?
I'm sorry. No, I should have been more clear on the cost for the electrical cost for the cameras, security cameras.
Yeah. I'll just say when we started putting the cameras years and years ago, we used to be able to do that for around like $2,000-$3,000, and now that number is getting into the 6 to 7 range. So that's definitely peaking a pretty extreme rate.
All right, thank you. All right, Council Member Cleveland, questions or comments?
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
thank you. Councilmember Williams,
No questions, thank you.
thank you. Councilmember Sherman,
No questions.
thank you. Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right, thank you. So if there's no additional discussion, do we have a motion on this ordinance?
I'll motion to adopt ordinance number 23-016, which enacts the fiscal year 2024 to 2029 information technology plan.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Sorry, lost my connection. All right, we have a first and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is unanimously passed. Next is a resolution of support for the application into the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Program for well number 7 construction. Mr. Rizzatello, you still up?
Thank you. And the next items basically are all resolutions of support for grants, just as we go through them. So this one in question is for well number 7, and that's over on Southwest Teal Road, so backside of the Stone Creek development and the Christensen property. Right now the well is being drilled over there. However, the gap that we're having to cover is the construction of the well house and the mechanical equipment. So this is resolution of support for Department of Health financing to essentially cover that element of the project. And this just, it allows a avenue to cover the revenue needed for the project. and dependent upon the money over at Department of Health, sometimes it can be 80 grant, 20 loan. There's been times because of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, it's gone up to 90 to 95%, depending upon the revenues that the state has. And then also keep in mind that we have several requests into the federal legislature for their earmark process, and then the Army Corps authorization bill. But we're just trying to cover all of our bases so that no matter what, we have the money available to get these important projects done.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland, questions or comments?
No questions?
Councilmember Espinosa?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman?
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle?
No questions, thanks.
All right. So we have no further or additional discussion. Do we have a motion on this resolution? Would somebody like to make a motion?
Move to adopt resolution number 23-066, which supports the city's application into the Department of Health State Revolving Fund Program for well number 7 construction.
Second, Peterson.
Great, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, council members. If there's no further discussion, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it's unanimous. The ayes have it and the motion is passed. Next is a resolution of support for the application into Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Program for Reservoir number 4 construction.
Identical concept, different project. This is for the big reservoir. It has to go over on the grounds of wastewater treatment plant property. This is the one that has price tag of around like 15 million. The concept just to again ensure that we have maneuverability is to apply this drinking water program for essentially 10 million of that. For the water tower, we think it'll be a lot less because of the various sources that we're trying to cover to do the construction. But again, just given the long process to get in line for monies and stuff, it makes sense to have various options available so we aren't in a dead end. Because as we've said at other meetings, even beyond the need for development, we do have a storage capacity issue in general for the existing city as a whole.
Right. All right. Thank you. Councilmember Cleveland.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Espinosa.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
No questions, but I would like to comment that Mike, you did a great video on this project.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Somebody does watch the videos once in a while.
Councilmember Sherman.
No questions.
Councilmember Boyle.
Where's
No
this?
questions.
All right. Well, I did see some comments on the Nextdoor app regarding the video. So people appreciated that. So thank you.
Anything you want to put on the screen, Norma? Mike's looking up.
All right, then. So if there's no additional discussion, is there a motion for this resolution?
Yeah, I move to adopt resolution number 23-067, which supports the city's application into the Department of Health State Revolving Fund Program for Reservoir number 4 construction.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Williams.
All right. Who did the second?
I think it was me or
Yeah,
Melody.
I think Councilmember Sherman got the jump on me.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
I'm
All opposed? All right, here, don't hear any, so the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Okay, we're gonna move on to the resolution of support for the FEMA HMA grant for the well number 3 chlorinator and generator, Mr. Rizzatello.
Yep. So this project's been in our capital facility plan for a bit. This was the well we were relying upon as we were trying to get the other replacement wells going. This is over at Larch and Lamperti. That well is one of the highest producing wells we have at the moment. This well does not have a generator immediately connected to it, so this project would ensure that that actually happens. This bucket of money has become available because due to the wildfires and general drought emergencies through the state, state was declared essentially an emergency declaration through federal government for FEMA. So that opens up hazard mitigation grant dollars, and this county and the cities are part of this project, are part of the hazard mitigation plan. So projects in there are eligible for funding. This is one of them. So if awarded, the federal grant would cover 75% of the costs. The state would kick in 12.5%, which would leave us with 12.5%. So that's what's before you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland.
No questions, but I applaud your knowledge and learning around all these grant dollars that are available and navigating the systems that get them for the city. So thank you.
Councilmember Espinosa.
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right. So if there's no questions or discussion, do we have a motion on this plan?
Councilmember Williams, I move to adopt resolution 23-068, which authorizes the city to submit the well number 3 chlorinator generator project to FEMA State of Washington HMA grant program for consideration and applicant/agent as the city administrator and finance director.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Thank you. If any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you, Mike. We're going to move on to your next one. So it's a resolution of support for the FEMA HMA grant for the fire station HVAC and controls upgrade.
Thank you. So for this resolution of support, same grant program, different project. This would essentially change out the HVAC and controls components over at the fire station. McKinstry completed the ESCO report on this about 1.5 years ago. And similar concept, if awarded, FEMA would kick in 75, state would be 12.5, leave us on the hook for about 12.5. In general, equipment needs to be changed out over there because that building has already passed the 20-year time frame, believe it or not. So yeah, it's the natural change out is inevitable. So trying to get someone else to pay for the majority of it.
Which I don't think any of us are opposed to. Councilmember Cleveland.
No questions.
Councilmember Espinosa.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sherman.
No questions.
Thank you. And Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right. Thank you. So there's no discussion. Do we have a motion on this resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 23-069, which authorizes the city to submit the fire station HVAC and controls upgrade project to FEMA State of Washington HMA grant program for consideration and sets the city administrator and finance director as applicant agent for the project.
Second, Peterson.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. There's no further discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. All right, we're skipping right along. Next, Mike's going to present on the resolution of support for the application into the Federal Economic Development Administration Planning and Technical Assistance Grant Program for the development of a comprehensive economic development strategy. Well, that was a short one.
Thank you. So with this item, as you all know from past meetings, we're trying to get grant money from Economic Development Administration for the reservoir number 4. In working through that process, what came out is you need to have a adopted comprehensive economic development strategy, and it needs to be of a vintage of 6 years or younger. And it turns out the Port's economic development plan doesn't hit all of the benchmarks that they need. Our economic development chapter does of our comprehensive plan. The issue is it's expiring in their eyes next month. Per state regulations for comprehensive plans, comprehensive plan only needs to be redone like every 8 years. So there's an incongruency between the State Growth Management Act and then this rule that the Federal Economic Development Administration has. So we can continue to chase money for reservoir number 4. It's in our best interest to at least try and move ahead and updating our economic development element of the comp plan to meet the comprehensive economic development strategy requirements of the EDA. EDA will provide the grant to essentially cover the cost of that, of doing the planning work to get the SEDS going. So that's the general concept, to chase after those funds to update the SEDS, so that way we can continue along and try to get the grant money for reservoir 4.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland,
No questions?
Councilmember Espinosa,
No questions.
Councilmember Peterson,
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams,
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
No questions. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle.
No questions.
All right, thank you. So if there's no discussion, do we have a motion for this resolution?
Councilmember Williams, I'll move to adopt resolution number 23-070, which supports the city's application into the Federal Economic Development Administration EDA Planning and Technical Assistance Grant Program for the development of a comprehensive economic development strategy, SEDS.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Perfect, thank you. If there's no further discussion, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you. So we're on to our last action item, and it's a resolution of support for the grant application into the Washington Highway Safety Improvement Grant Program for improvements around Walla Walla University and Davis Elementary School.
Hey, thank you. So with this grant program, we're relatively new to being able to actually qualify for this. So cities, to be able to qualify for this highway safety grant program, you have to have an adopted local road safety plan. We ended up getting one of those over a year ago, thanks to the efforts of Blue Zones and then the MPO. So now we actually qualify for this, and it's based on like where there's a crash history, either vehicles or pedestrian or bicycle. And some of the problem areas identified in our local road safety plan were generally around the nodes of the university and then Davis Elementary School. So really this is bringing to life recommended treatments in the local road safety plan, which would be the addition of pedestrian street lamps, which we've talked about in various forms around Davis, bordering the university, and then Ash, also putting in some bike infrastructure, and then putting in some sidewalks around Southeast 3rd Street, College Day, and then fixing up the sidewalks and ADA ramps and such along Fourth. And then Southeast Birch second of Fourth, putting in a sidewalk and doing some sort of advisory shoulder treatment, because that road's a very narrow road, but it has a lot of traffic volumes. So trying to do all those improvements. So this project and the grant is due in basically past the new year, but it's a lot of work. So I wanted to make sure to get this out in front of you in case there's any issues before I start working to get everything typed up for this.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Cleveland,
Looks great. No questions.
Councilmember Espinosa.
No questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson, excuse me.
No questions, thank you.
Councilmember Williams.
No questions, but I would like to thank all of the staff and Mike for putting together such good packets and giving us previews of everything so that we really can go through these this long list of action items as quickly.
Yes, thank you.
While still being responsible.
And that is important. Councilmember Sherman.
I don't have questions, but this looks awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Boyle.
No questions. Thank you.
All right, so if there's no additional discussion, do we have a motion on this resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 23-071, which supports grant application into the Washington Highway Safety Improvement Grant Program for projects around the Walla Walla University and Davis Elementary School area.
I'll second.
Excellent. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it and the motion is passed. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations on all of those for at least finding them and getting them into our agenda. Thank you. All right, there's no administrative reports on the agenda tonight. There's one informational report for you to review that was in your packet for the College Bay Police Department. We do not have an executive session tonight, so we're moving on to closing items. Is there any other business for good of the order?
Councilmember Peterson, I have a quick question. Anyway, I think we have, yeah. The manhole covers, the new on 6th Street, are they finished as my head bounces off the headliner of my car as I drive over them?
The manhole covers? I don't know anything about.
So Southwest 6th between College Avenue and Davis, that did hit substantial completion with the sidewalks. They have minor punch list items, but to my awareness, it was mainly around landscaping and fixing items adjacent to the sidewalk. So
I've had some questions. So the manhole covers, they're in the middle of the street. There's like 2 or 3 of them, and it looks like they misgauged the height. And they now have beveled the asphalt down. And it is interesting. I don't know. It's not nothing we're probably going to fix. But it is interesting. If you drive and over those, you notice it. And it's unique to the city of College Place. So I don't know if any of you have noticed that or if that's. No,
Are you talking about, are those the water valve covers?
No, the manhole covers. They're right in front of Blue Mountain Credit Union. To the south.
I have not actually gone through there since the construction, so I don't know.
I'm talking about, well, okay.
We'll look into it.
we'll look into it.
You can see where they ground down to the covers.
I've
to
driven through there in a truck, so
yeah, no, it's not. Look, what we're gonna do, but it's something that looks like somebody made a calculation as far as the height of the road as compared to the manhole covers, so.
Maybe get a truck or a convertible.
We can talk Anderson Perry about
Yeah.
that. They were,
It is, it's something that looks like it got missed or something got adjusted at the end there, but anyway, it's not, if it can't be fixed, it can't be fixed, you know, it's what it is, but
while we've had substantial completion, the contract itself is not closed out, so there may be
Yeah.
room to do some.
so we understand Sixth Street.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Mike and John, to take a look at that, because we definitely don't want to pop any tires or cause any vehicle
No.
damage on that. So,
Mayor, I have a question.
yes,
Real
sir.
quick. Are we seeing an uptick on thefts at local retailers, especially as we're heading into the holidays? Are there any concerns around that? Are we doing anything to address that situation?
Yeah, I'll just say the police department has been doing additional patrols around the retail areas. And then additionally, what's also helping is the Home Depot cameras actually live now, which is great. So that has helped already in a couple of instances. The Walmart camera we're working on, there's some electrical wiring issues going back to my earlier comment that we are now grappling with. So
It'd be important to get those, if we can get them fixed. In reviewing the police report that's in this packet, but of course it's from October. It's not starting with this holiday season, but I did not see any more thefts than I usually see on those reports, or calls for thefts. It's usually it looked to be about the same ones in the same areas, mostly Walmart calls, but I have not seen anything other than that. And I didn't see any business vandalism calls. Okay. Any other questions or comments for good of the order? All right, thank you all for your good questions and your comments. Appreciate it. If we don't have any more discussions, do we have a motion to conclude the meeting?
Councilmember Williams, so moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Perfect. We have a first and a second. So if there's no objections, the meeting is concluded at 7:57 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.